toothpaste for elephants. Today I'm going to show you how to make elephant toothpaste. They sometimes call it elephant toothpaste because it looks like very large toothpaste coming out of a tube. So first I'm going to explain the science behind the chemical reaction and show you how to make a mild foam and an explosive foam. So first you're going to need 12% hydrogen peroxide, dish soap, iodide, potassium iodide, and gloves because the potassium iodide can burn your skin. Gloves on. Then you're going to need a bottle, a small cup dry yeast, food coloring to make it look pretty, and lukewarm water. So the 12% hydrogen peroxide is basically made up of hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms. It can undergo, in right conditions, it undergoes a chemical reaction and breaks down into oxygen and water. The chemical equation, hydrogen peroxide turns into water plus oxygen. So it's also called an exothermic reaction, so if you feel the size of the bottle, it should feel warm. Then we're going to use the yeast, and the yeast contains an enzyme called catalase. And this speeds up the rate of the chemical reaction and breaks down the oxygen and water and traps them in tiny bubbles using the soap. This also happens when you use potassium iodide. So the foam is made as the dish soap traps the water and oxygen inside as tiny bubbles. So first you're going to want to measure out your yeast. I'm going to use a packet and you put it in lukewarm water. Then you're going to want to mix it. Till it all dissolves. Okay. Now you're going to want to put soap in your bottles. You want to just kind of eyeball it. So now I'm going to put the 12% hydrogen peroxide, and you can put up to about half a cup. I'm going to put some food coloring. I have blue and pink. Okay, and you're going to want to mix it. So now the oxygen and water are getting trapped in as tiny bubbles. And you're going to want to move everything out of the way. And I actually bought the potassium iodide as crystals, and you can, it can be turned into a saturated solution by dissolving. So, not supposed to inhale this either. Okay, so now I'm going to pour it in here. Hopefully it works.
Yep.
That's going to take a while. Just going to put this in here too. And that's why you need the large baking dish. There you go. Hopefully it doesn't overflow. Okay, and then I wish that I could show you how an explosion, how that would look, but 30% hydrogen peroxide is hard to come by, and I couldn't order it in time. And so to make an exploding reaction, you would use 30% hydrogen peroxide, potassium iodide, and liquid soap. You wouldn't need to use the yeast. And right now, I can touch it because it's basically oxygen and soapy water. So, yeah. So, I hope I've taught you something. That's how you make elephant toothpaste.